Welcome to now technical session 1 for the day. And in this session, we will have 3 invited talk. We'll start with Professor K. Ratnavali, and then we'll have with us Professor Abhishek Tandon, and next speaker will be Professor Ravi Tekchandani, sir. So I would like to request speaker on dais, respected speaker on dais, Professor K. Ratnavali, ma'am, please. And also we'd like to request our Vice Principal, sir, Professor Kamal Gupta, sir, please be on dais. So before we'll start the technical session, we would like to request. Yeah. So I would like to request Professor Kamal Gupta, sir, to felicitate our guest and first speaker of this technical session, Professor K. Ratnavali. Kashish is here? Kashish is here? No. And this painting, which Professor Gupta is hand over to Professor Ratnavali, this is made by one of our own student, Mr. Kashish Agarwal. Miss Kashish Agarwal. Yeah, so please have a hand of. Yeah, thank you, sir. And now before I go ahead for the technical session, I would like to introduce our first guest, Professor K. Ratnavali. For this session, she is, presently appointed Dean Academics and Dean Academic Activities and Projects. Madam is faculty member at Law Center 1, University of Delhi. Prior to joining teaching in 2004, Professor Ratnavali has worked as an intern in United Nations for High Commission for Refugees, UNHCR, as well as in a state Human Rights Commission, Manipur. She has worked as a member of the editorial board of Delhi Law Review. Professor Ratnavali has worked as convener as well as member of newsletter committees of Law Center 1 for several issues of the newsletter, and is founder member of National Association targeting uplifting and rehabilitation through education. She is involved in nature as a joint secretary since 2006. The NGO is involved in running schools for the slums children residing in and around Raghubir Nagar area, Delhi. Professor Ratnavali has supervised various LLM dissertation. Her areas of interest are human rights of the marginalized section of society with special reference to tribals, indigenous people. I welcome you, ma'am, for your invited talk. Please, Professor Ratnavali, ma'am.
Very good afternoon. My height is so low that I'm not able to see much of the people sitting in the front. If there is a, wireless mic, I can, I love looking at people and speaking rather than, yeah.
Hello.
It's working. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Very good afternoon. Uh, uh, Respected Professor Kamal Gupta, and Professor Indra Khan, distinguished invitees of the dais, teachers from various colleges of the universities across the country, conveners, Professor Varsha, Professor Ruby, IQSC coordinator, Dr. Aditya, co-convener, Dr. Seema, Dr. Shalendra, Dr. Gipti Gupta. If I have missed out any person, let me just say that it's indeed a pleasure and I would say a privilege to be invited here to speak about the national education policy. The national education policy, as we all know, let me first of all find out how many people have read this policy back to back. Very nice. So I feel that, yeah.
Sir, we have also with us Professor Abhishek Tandon. So I request sir be on dais, please. Thank you. Thank you, Professor Tandon. Please continue.
Thank you. So what we find in our National Education Policy 2020 is that it talks about a policy which is trying to make a student a complete person. And it's described as well-rounded individuals who are competent to take up a sustainable livelihood, who have the sensitivity towards contributing to the country and the community at large. So it's our duty for each one of us who is engaged in the education system and teaching these students to deliver what is expected by the policy. And in that context, I would like to share with you that keeping in mind the fundamental principles, I'm sure that you must have all read what are the main features of the policy. And in fact, in the first few pages, they have put it down in bullet points so that we don't miss what is the fundamental principle. Now, the whole of policy, if you look at it, talks about flexibility, putting students in the center of the education system. Though the deliveries has to be done by the teachers, teachers play a very important role. But whether we are formulating a curriculum, whether we are talking about coming up with an innovative pedagogy, whether we are talking about giving a skill enhancement course, value addition course, ability enhancement course, all these are meant to so all these are meant to make the student competent and at the same time able to have that critical thinking capacity rather than focusing on just rote learning for the purpose of examination and get some good marks. Not like that. So we want a student who should come out from the education system being not just having a deep knowledge in one or more disciplines, but able to think critically, who have the capacity to solve problems, who have the capacity to contribute towards the society through the spirit of service. So unless we incorporate all these in our curriculum, we will not be able to produce the kind of a person which is expected by the national education policy. So keeping in mind all these aspects, the University of Delhi had constituted a committee way back in 2020, September, which is called the National Education Policy Implementation Committee, which I'm referring to it as NIC. So this particular committee, which consisted about 42 members, led by Professor Vic Sunejaji, had formulated a structure. And that particular structure was adopted in 2021, towards the end of August. But after the new Vice Chancellor had joined, so he wanted to revisit this particular structure and see how we can further improve upon it. So what we have today, which is called as Undergraduate Curriculum Framework 2022, is, I would say, an evolution of the structure that was given by the NIC, that is NEP Implementation Committee. So what we have done in this particular UGCF is to give maximum flexibility to students, but at the same time, maintain the standards of education. So if you look the curriculum framework, particularly we have 3 tables listed in the UGCF. I don't know how many of you have seen the Undergraduate Curriculum Framework 2022. If you have not seen, kindly refer it to the Delhi University website, du.ac.in, and in their page, there is a running notification. So you can refer to it. So if you look at table number 3, there are 3 tables particularly referring to the structure. There is table number 3, 6, and 7. And table number 3 generally focuses on the honors course, honors programs. When I say honors programs, it means those programs where the core discipline selected is only one single course. It can be BSc Physics, it can be BSc Botany, or BA English, or BCom honors. So all honors courses where you have only one single discipline as a core, then we refer to table number 3 for the other aspects of the curriculum. In every semester, it has been attempted that a student studies more than 50% of the core discipline. So if you pick up any semester, you will find that the component of the core discipline is more than 50%. The rest consists of skill enhancement course, ability enhancement course, value addition course, and generic elective. Now, why are we giving these, range of courses, making it compulsory for a student? Now, if you go into it, what we find is that when you are looking at semester 1, you are studying 3 core papers. 3 core papers. If it is a BA English, then you will be studying 3 papers of English. If it's an English honors program, then you have generic elective. Now, generic elective, as you know, under the CBCS system, is an elective which a student has to choose from some other discipline. So why it is made compulsory to study a discipline of another department? It's because NEP talks about multidisciplinarity. Unless you make a student study some course of another discipline, you can't bring in that multidisciplinarity. So when it becomes a credit course, say an English student will be able to pick up, say, computer application course offered by, say, Department of Computer Science, so that he or she becomes computer savvy. Because English department is not going to provide computer-based knowledge. But in today's context, we all know that how important it is to have knowledge of the computers. So similarly, if a student is pursuing BA English, but then he wants to become a maybe public relations officer or something like that, where the interaction with the public at large is very important, and he would like to study a paper of psychology maybe. Yeah, so that kind of advantage is given to a student. He or she is able to pick up those subjects and design the academic path which he wishes to accomplish. So that's how we have the generic elective as a component of the course, and you have ability enhancement. In the case of University of Delhi, we have picked up 2 groups of papers which are put under ability enhancement. That is the environmental studies, environmental science and sustainable development is one paper, which a student will be studying for 2 credits in 2 semesters. That is semester 1 and 1 semester in first year, and second paper will be studied in the second year. So it will be in a flip mode. The other category of courses under ability enhancement is the Indian languages. So knowing a language increases the ability of a student. So therefore, in ability enhancement, the other set of courses are all the 22 Indian languages which are available in the 8th schedule of our constitution. So whether a particular language teacher is there in a college or not, irrespective of that, it has been promised by the university that if even 1 student or 2 students wishes to study a language not otherwise offered in that college, but wishes to study from amongst those 22 Indian languages, then such students will be grouped together and the university will facilitate the engagement of a teacher to teach that particular course. So that anybody who wishes to learn the Indian language is able to learn it. Now, if you refer back again to the National Education Policy 2020, you will find that multilingualism is also one of the focus areas of the policy. So by promoting multilingualism, by offering any kind of all the Indian languages in the 8th schedule, we are trying to promote the multilingualism aspect, because with language is associated culture. Unless you know the language, you won't be able to appreciate truly the culture of a particular society, community, or region. So therefore, if we Indians don't understand our own culture, the culture of our brother, and only trying to know what is the culture of US or some other foreign country or France, I think that is not going to give us that kind of, I would say, appreciation which one is supposed to have about one's country. Because only when you have that or know what value you have in your culture, then only you'll be able to, raise your head high and present yourself before the world at large. Otherwise, you will always look at West for any kind of concept or for any, contribution or even enrichment. You'll think that they are the best, so we are just aping. So it's high time that we come out of the colonialism which was there and appreciate, because for that it's very important. If you look at how colonization in India took place, we have to go in that reverse direction. जैसे education system बदला तभी से आप, because that's how we started appreciating English language, English culture, things like that. So we have to go in the reverse mode, and that's how the UGCF is promoting Indian languages. Next is the skill enhancement courses. See, without skill, no matter how much a student gets or scores in an academic or theory paper, that particular marks is of very less relevance if the student does not have the ability to deliver hands-on when he or she is on the job. So therefore, in today's context, as well as if you look at the future of job, it is not going to be the piece of paper which you call degree, which is going to give you proper job. They will ask you, fine, these papers are there, but what can you do? What skill do you have? So therefore, it's very important to pick the right kind of skills along with the academic knowledge that you have, so that the employability of the student increases and the rate of unemployability decreases. Now, the University of Delhi is partnering or collaborating with several sector skill councils. We are looking at certification of the skill courses from the sector skill council, so that student who chooses such skill enhancement courses by the end of completion of their 4-year degree course will be able to earn, certified skill courses, skills along with the academic, degree that they have earned. They will be able to show the certificates earned in the respective skill, which will definitely give an edge as compared to the other students. So skill enhancement courses are of two types in the offered in the university. One type is where you are trying to give the skill of that academic, the core discipline. Say, for example, if a student is studying BSc microbiology, the skill enhancement course that particular department is offering are those skills which gives the student the ability to, say, work in a pathological lab. So he or she will be able to operate the equipments. He or she will be able to conduct those pathological tests by which he or she will be able to determine what kind of sickness the person is suffering from. Meaning thereby, what you are trying to do is you correlate what has been learned in theory with the skill enhancement course. Now, there are another set of skill enhancement courses which has nothing to do with the core paper that are being taught. Those skills are important, as I would say, it's a life skill you can think about. Say communication skill, say computer application skill, or say the ability to say make a presentation before or public speaking, you can say. So various skill enhancement courses in general, those life skills will also be provided. So it's up to the student either to choose skill enhancement course of that core discipline he or she is studying, or pick up the skill enhancement course which will be giving a life skill in general. So that is left to the student. The last type of course that one is offering is the value addition courses. As the term suggests, value addition. So you're trying to increase the soft skills of the student. So we are trying to bring in, say, the community service, so that they go for community service at the same time they are able to earn credit for that. Previously, I think since all of you are mainly teachers, you must be, you must have had the experience of students going for outreach program. But that is a voluntary thing that student does. And I think the college facilitates. And there was no credit as such. They may at the most get a certificate, which might be, useful or not, I don't know. But definitely now in the today's context, when we talk about value addition courses, a student will be earning credit. That credit will be counted for the purpose of earning the requisite number of credits to get a degree or diploma or certificate accordingly. So these range of courses are meant to develop a student into a well-rounded individual. So focus on an in-depth knowledge in one or more discipline with ability enhancement, skill enhancement, value addition courses. Now, let me also share with you that flexibility is also the theme of NEP. So that's why it's up to a student to choose one particular subject and then study and earn an honors degree. Second flexibility is he or she can choose 2 or more subjects as a core and study, right? Third is he or she can choose what kind of multidisciplinary subject he wants to pick up along with the core subject, right? Fourth is that which kind of skill he wants to enhance himself, right? What kind of value addition course he would like to go for. So you have creative writing, you have sports, you have gardening. There are so many things which a student can opt from. It's a pool of courses. So skill enhancement course, value addition course, generic elective course, these are universal pool from which a student can study. So thereby a student is able to pick and choose and determine the academic path he wishes to traverse, right? Now, Second thing which I would like to focus upon is that NEP also talks about giving emphasis on research. As we all know that without research in academics, you cannot proceed, whether as teachers in terms of promotion or in terms of seeking a higher, higher grade employment. So there is always a research component which is there. Similarly, in the undergraduate program, which wasn't there before, though there are some colleges which do have research cells, but then that's not a mandated part of the course itself. Now, research has been embedded as part of the course. And since research has to be done in the fourth year, serious research in the form of writing a dissertation or doing an academic project, it's very important for the student to learn how to do research. So research methodology becomes a mandatory course for students who would like to go for the fourth year program after completing 3 years. So in 6th semester, a student has to, opt for research methodology as a discipline specific elective. But in case, because, students are sometimes, drawn by or motivated by peers. So it might be possible that they might miss the bus. They might miss the bus of choosing the research methodology as a discipline specific elective, because in electives you have choices. So in case if he missed the bus, but then later on he makes up the mind that yes, I would like to go for the fourth year, then in that case he is given another chance of studying research methodology in the 7th semester. Now, actually, we wanted to make it mandatory for every student who wishes to go to the fourth year to study research methodology in 6th semester. But then it came to our mind, flexibility is the name of the game, and students, choice and freedom is prime. So therefore, we thought, let's not close the door. Let's keep an option open, and we can tell the teachers to orient the students that it is advisable that you take it here, because we can't say mandatory. Mandatory is the word, ek shabd hai jo kind of prohibited hai. You shouldn't be using it with NEP, jo gel nahi karta hai, like oil and water. So research now has become a very important part. Similarly, we also know that NEP talks about multiple entry and exit. Exit ऐसा नहीं कि हर odd semester में exit नहीं है. Exit is at the end of even semester. Semester 2 के बाद, semester 3 के बाद, 6 के बाद, 8 के बाद तो compulsory आपका end ही हो गया, course complete हो गया. So when we talk about multiple exits, it is very important to keep in mind, if a student exits, what he or she will be able to do after that particular, what he has learned. So what we have done in the university is that we have requested all the committee of courses that when you are framing the curriculum, सबसे पहला चीज है curriculum standard का बनना चाहिए. That's the prime, I think most fundamental thing. So we have requested all the departments and gave guiding principles that whenever you are making the curriculum, kindly ensure that out of the 6 core papers that you are offering in the first year, at least one should be an application based course. ताकि अगर exit हो जाए first year के बाद, कुछ application based knowledge मिलेगा तो ही वो आगे कुछ काम कर पाएंगे. Similarly, we also told them that when you frame or the skill enhancement courses, please come up with those kind of skill enhancement courses which will give the student an ability to get employed. So it shouldn't be that after completing 12, अगर 12 के mark sheet 12 में जो मिला है उससे ज्यादा अगर कुछ नहीं मिल सकता job wise, employment wise, after completing first year of the bachelor's program, then what is the utility of your course? क्योंकि 12th के बाद भी वही जॉब मिलना है, फर्स्ट ईयर के करने के बाद भी वही जॉब मिलना है. That means your course doesn't have that kind of value which it should have. ठीक है. So therefore mapping what are the employment options which are available after giving that particular certificate should be there done. आप पहले मैप करो कि कौन कौन सी जॉब्स मिल सकती है एक साल पढ़ने के बाद. क्या उस जॉब के हिसाब से आपका कोर्स है, आपको देखना पड़ेगा. Unless you do that, if there is a disjunct between what is demanded by the market and what you are teaching in the class, then we have failed. तो NEP की failure है, हमारी failure है, and we don't want to fail. And that's why we request all the committee of courses अपना deliberation करें हर level पे, come up with an innovative curriculum which will give employment to our students. Without that, so let me also tell you, it's a closed room. तो जो हमारी litmus test है ना कि UGCF या NEP सक्सेसफुल है कि नहीं है, वो हमारी फर्स्ट ईयर करके जो एग्जिट करने वाले जो बच्चे हैं ना वही बताएंगे. अगर हम सक्सेसफुल हो गए, वो हमारी एम्बेसडर बनेंगे और हर स्टूडेंट एक साल ही सही DU में पढ़ने की कोशिश करेंगे. Because there are so many, I would say, restrictions which we may not realize sitting here. बहुत सारे बच्चे ऐसे हैं, इतना गरीब है या उनके ऊपर एम्प्लॉय अर्निंग की, वो फैमिली अर्निंग के लिए पूरा अपना शोल्डर पे लेते हैं बर्डन कि शायद उनके पास टाइम नहीं है एक साल पढ़ने के अलावा. अगर एक साल पढ़ने के बाद भी अगर बराबर जॉब मिल रही है 12th के बाद, then it is of no use. So therefore, I take this opportunity to earnestly request each one of you to think about it. Because after all, आप जो देंगे उसी से ही बच्चा बनेगा. आप नहीं देंगे, आप नहीं डिलीवर करोगे ना, then कितना भी बढ़िया करिकुलम बनाओ, कितना भी बढ़िया फ्रेमवर्क बनाए, इसका कोई फायदा नहीं है. Because you are the ones, teachers are the one who are going to roll out this policy, who are going to make it successful. ठीक है, कंफर्ट जोन से तो निकलना पड़ेगा. हाँ, अब तो अपने स्टूडेंट के लिए और देश के लिए तो करना ही पड़ेगा. So I request each one of you. Next point which I would like to share with you. Do I have time? 5 minutes. आप टेबल पे टैप कर दीजिए तो मैं खत्म कर दूँ. Actually, I can keep going. One thing which we also try to do is to bring internship, apprenticeship, projects, and community outreach. Because if a student wishes to exit after 1-2 years, say, 2 साल के बाद अगर एग्जिट करना चाहता है, तो वो बैठ के स्किल एनहांसमेंट कोर्स जो है क्लासरूम में पढ़ना नहीं चाहेगा. वो चाहेगा कि जहां मैं जॉब करना है, जिस उस इंडस्ट्री में मैं इंटर्नशिप करूं, अप्रेंटिसशिप करूं, ताकि एग्जिट के बाद तुरंत उस तरह का जॉब मिले या उसी में जॉब मिले. So therefore, if you look at the curriculum, we have provision for choosing either skill enhancement course, जो बच्चा बैठ के ही पढ़ना चाहता है क्लासरूम में, वो भी बैठ के पढ़ सकता है. Option is given. In the alternative, student can also choose internship, apprenticeship, community outreach. But academic project can also be done, because many of the teachers who have project can associate with them students in that particular as a skill, as a project course for 2 credits in a semester. ये भी आप कर सकते हैं. So student can choose, and accordingly, again, flexibility. So to opt for skill enhancement or internship. But in this 3rd year, what we have done is that student can also go for research project. Initially, research का इतना नहीं होता है. So that's why if you look at 2nd year, research का option नहीं है, internship, apprenticeship, project, oblique, community outreach है. So research becomes another option or an additional option in that category only in the 3rd year, because 3rd year the student become mature enough. They are also studying research methodology side by side, and they will be able to, align themselves what kind of topic they would like to choose for doing or writing a dissertation in the 4th year. So that helps. I would like to conclude by telling about the 4th year, that in the 4th year, there are 3 tracks available. ये नहीं कि बच्चा हमेशा डिसर्टेशन लिखेगा, ऐसा नहीं है. डिसर्टेशन जो लिखना नहीं चाहते हैं वो एकेडमिक प्रोजेक्ट कर सकते हैं, और जो एकेडमिक प्रोजेक्ट भी नहीं करना है, डिसर्टेशन भी नहीं करना है, अपना खुद का एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप सेटअप करना है कि he or she wants to become a employer, giver of jobs, then in that case also that track is also given. तो यो 3 में से कोई भी चूज कर सकते हैं बच्चा, और अपने हिसाब से अपने करियर ऑप्शंस, अपना करियर का पाथ सेट कर सकता है. So thank you so very much. If you have any query later on, I think you can mail me also. Kindly have a look at the UGCF, which is available on the DU website. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Professor Ratnavali. Thank you, Professor Ratnavali. Such a wonderful detailing of NEP syllabi, ongoing syllabus in Delhi University. And you have almost covered all the important aspects, which was very, very important for all the listeners and participant here. Specifically, what we would say, practical plan and implementation of NEP. You have already discussed flexibility, freedom, skill develop, enhancement courses, and important attraction of this NEP course curriculum, and the way we have framed the course curriculum development program in Delhi University. Besides that, important utility and what students will do even after exit in between if they want. And of course, it is important to have the community outreach program, internship, apprenticeship, and later a student may take over for research. So thank you so much, Professor Ratnavali. Now we have with us Dr. Abhishek Tandon, our next speaker of this session. I would like to request our chairman, sir, Sri Arun Vatsji, to please facilitate our speaker, Dr. Abhishek Tandon, with sapling. Also request our principal, sir, to hand over the memento. Now request Dr. Ruby Mishra to join. This painting is again made by Kashish. She is our own student. Kashish is here. We should have big round of applause for her. She prepared this painting. Yes. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Dr. Abhishek. So before I request our speaker, I just have a formal introduction to this, our speaker. Dr. Abhishek Tandon is presently Deputy Director, Research at ICSSR. He is Senior Assistant Professor in Department of Financial Studies at Shahid Sukhdev College of Business Studies, and also a visiting faculty at Department of Business Economics, University of Delhi. He has a teaching, research, and corporate experience of more than 10 years and has published extensively in journals of repute. He was awarded as Best Teacher by Government of NCT of Delhi in 2016. He also got prestigious UGC BSR Meritorious Students Scholarship by University Grant Commission, Ministry of Education, and was also awarded by Society of Reliability, Quality, and Operations Management for exemplary promise and potential in research in 2009. He has successfully completed a major research projects fully funded by Indian Council of Social Science Research, Ministry of Education, and 2 innovation projects from University of Delhi. I would like to invite him to share his valuable experience with us on NEP. Please, Dr. Abhishek Tandon.
Thank you. First of all, It's a very warm afternoon and all of you are here. So it's really exciting to be here between such an august gathering. Chairman Saab, Shri R.N. Vats ji, Principal, Dynamic Young Principal of the college, Dr. Rajiv Gupta ji, Vice Principal, Professor Kamal Gupta ji, Conveners, Professor Ruby Mishra, Professor Varsha Baveja ji, Coordinator, Dr. Inder Kant Singh ji. Just now, Professor Ratnabali spoke just before me. However, she did not wait to listen to my suggestions. Anyways, I'll just write an email to her. Usually, professors are busy, you know, they don't have so much time to listen. So that's why. But, you know, national education policy, how new education policy got transformed into national education policy, that is something which we need to understand. When new education policy was announced, it was envisaged that the policy framework and feedback mechanism should go to all 676 districts of our country. And the feedback and the form should be translated in all the 22 languages of our country, which are there as scheduled languages in our constitution. When this kind of approach was followed, a second redrafting committee was formed. And only at that time, it was realized that new education policy is not new education policy, but it is a national education policy. Friends, we all have different ideas about different things. We may differ economically, we may differ in our views politically, we may differ in our views socially. But only one thing where we cannot differ is about our nation. If we start differing there, then I think the purpose of national education policy will not be solved. Just now, a budding student from this college gave me a painting which was made by her. I wanted to request Professor Ratnabali, but why can't we make certain provisions that these things are also incorporated into credits? Unfortunately, she did not wait, but okay, you can always pass on this message. Why can't we have students playing excellent sports be given credits for their sports? That is the essence of national education policy. It is not pen and paper and 4 semesters and how we have to exit, how we have to entry, what, you know, we need to know what is the feel of national education policy, why national education policy was required in this country. For past 60, 70 years, there have been many kinds of education policies that have been introduced in the country. And we must appreciate all those national education policies or new education policies because they were required at that particular time. But today the time is changing. People, and especially our students, want something fresh. The real success of national education policy will be when our classes, our seminar rooms are 100% filled and 100% full, even in the second session of the seminar. That will be the real success. You know, we should not force anything on anybody. We should let them enjoy what they want to do. Let them pick what they want to learn. It is always teachers who are asking their students to learn. But right now it's time where students should know where they are going to do excellently. I mean, I'll give you one example. All of us know about the great Sachin Tendulkar. You know what is his education? क्या है एजुकेशन, कोई बताएगा? स्टूडेंट्स पीछे बोर तो नहीं हो रहे? हाँ, सचिन तेंदुलकर की क्या एजुकेशन है? 10th पास या 10th फेल, कुछ ने बोला. अभी अगर ये सोचो, स्पोर्ट्स अगर एजुकेशन होता तो उसकी क्या एजुकेशन होती? टॉपर विद पीएचडी, डबल पीएचडी. भारत रत्न तो सर मिल गया पर एजुकेशन में नहीं मिला. तो यहां से सोचने का, this is where we need to think. Why can't that kind of education relevance be given to him via credits? So this is what, multidisciplinary education is all about. I am very grateful to Professor Rajiv Gupta. He has given me this opportunity. Usually, we are not given the choice of our own topic, but he has given me the choice of my own topic also. And I said, I'll speak on multidisciplinary education. These days, we hear so many, buzzwords: interdisciplinary, intradisciplinary, transdisciplinary. आप लोग एक बार ये सब पढ़ लेना, मैं सब बता के डेफिनेशन बोर नहीं करूंगा आपको. But you know what the essence of multidisciplinary is? I'll also come to, I have some time, so I'll also come to a portion of development that has already happened at government's front. या पहले वही बता देता हूँ, वो सुनने की बात अच्छी है. Government of India has already sanctioned 350 crore rupees. ये टीचर्स को अच्छी लगेगी बात सुन के. 350 crores. Draft bill has already been prepared, which is going to be passed in the cabinet very soon, which will help converting and transforming all the 35 central university into multidisciplinary education institutions, which will have seats in all the subjects and teaching posts in all the subjects. So this is one of the single effort that government has already taken. And it is not something which is a secret. It is there in the media as well. You can go and search it. So 350 crore government is already spending so that various disciplines can come into higher education institutions. That's the reason why multidisciplinary education is important. Now, what are the 5 importance of multidisciplinary? जब किसी ने national education policy बना रहे होंगे या आज बात कर रहे होंगे तो सोचा होगा यार ये multidisciplinary लाना है तो लाना क्यों है? There should be some kind of relevance. Why multidisciplinary? One relevance I have already highlighted, that we need to appreciate, we need to embrace our students who are very good, excellent in the field of sports, in the field of art, in the field of culture, in the field of n number of fields. What are the other reasons? The biggest problem these days with our education system, or I should say our society, is that one person is not ready to accept the idea of second person. My idea is the best idea, your idea is not true. When multidisciplinary approach will come, this kind of problems will be solved. Because एक ही problem को कई disciplines से address किया जाएगा. The biggest learning is COVID. COVID is a scientific problem, social problem, mathematical problem. सारे ही subject के लोग बैठे हैं, sir mathematics के भी हैं. COVID कौन सी problem थी? Students. हाँ? अभी जान के मल्टीडिसिप्लिनरी मत बोलो, वैसे अपना कोई आपको लगता है तो वो भी बोल सकते हैं. We need to interact actually. COVID was a multidisciplinary problem. We had a virus which was purely medical problem. Thousands of our workers had to run away immediately. A social problem. Our country is very vast. Now I want to come to the crux of it, why I am mentioning it. Our country is very vast, both in the sense of population and area. Government cannot reach to anyone, be it central government, be it state government, be it any local panchayat. Therefore, we need to make sure that there is a feeling of sensitivity in our own children. सोसाइटी, भारत जो है सरकार केंद्रित देश नहीं है, ये समाज केंद्रित देश है. जब when people fled this city, who helped them? People on the way helped them to give them water, give them food. So this was a social problem. Every day we used to see curve कब flat होगा, curve कब flat होगा, तो ये तो mathematical problem हो गई. So major जो portion है, कोई भी problem, it can be looked at various ideas from various, and you know what the best part was, I was following it very closely. I have written a couple of research papers also on COVID. There was a big dilemma of when this COVID is going to end. I'm talking about the second wave, which was most disastrous. And scientists, medical scientists, जो viral वाले थे, and mathematicians both gave different statements. तो एक दूसरे को सहने की भी आदत डालनी चाहिए. That is why this kind of national education policy is there. Multidisciplinary education helps in learning, helps students to know various disciplines, ideas, you know, cognitive skills are developed. I can go on and define so many things, but today I want to address basically to the students so that they know why this kind of policy is being launched. अभी मैं स्टेज पे बैठा था तो Professor Ruby Mishra was showing me about Indian knowledge tradition. I'll give you a very basic example about Indian knowledge tradition. You will get to know why is it important. When Britishers went back from our country, they wrote some points in their history. You know what is the जो सबसे ज्यादा ब्रिटिशर्स को परेशान करता था वो पॉइंट क्या था? When they entered our country, one thing which was making them, you know, feel really weird about this country was कि ये पेड़ की पूजा क्यों करते हैं? They always saw people worshipping the trees. They had already heard that people worship gods, idol worship is there, but majority of them were worshipping trees, plants. Now you imagine 2022, COP21, COP22, Paris, everybody. What are they trying to do? Save the environment. How much money they are spending? In crores. And what is our ancient learning teaching us? If you worship something, will you cut that thing? If you worship something, क्या आप उसको काट दोगे? नहीं काटोगे. रत्नावली मैम अभी बोल रही थी कि हम यूएस और यूके का ट्रेडिशन फॉलो नहीं करना चाहिए हमें. कर लो वहां से भी अगर कुछ अच्छा है. मेरा तो ये डिफरेंस है, कर लो अगर कुछ अच्छा है तो कर लो. बट कभी कभी एक और एस्पेक्ट है जो मुझे लगता है जिसपे ध्यान देने की जरूरत है. हमारे अपने बीच में इतनी अच्छी चीजें हैं जिसको हम अप्रिशिएट तब करते हैं जब वो बाहर रिकॉग्नाइज होती हैं. मैं आपको दो एग्जांपल्स देता हूं, स्पेशली 2020 के. कभी कभी लगता है लोग ब्रिटिशर्स के पुराने एग्जांपल देते हैं, जैसे 1947 के बाद तो कुछ अच्छा काम हुआ ही नहीं. 2011 में एक केस स्टडीज छपी इंडियन हार्वर्ड बिजनेस रिव्यू में. आप लोग पढ़ लेना सब ऑनलाइन जाके. एक्स्ट्रा ऑर्डिनरी हीरोज ऑफ ताज. कहां छपी? हार्वर्ड बिजनेस रिव्यू. इंडिया में किसी ने नहीं पूछा किसी को. जब वो वहां छप गई तो हमें पता चला कि एक्स्ट्रा ऑर्डिनरी हीरोज ऑफ ताज कौन थे. व्हेन अटैक वाज डन बाय टेररिस्ट, आई एम जस्ट कोटिंग द केस स्टडी, it was mentioned there that people who were working in the hotel could have easily fled. They knew all the exits, but they did not. Reason? Because when they were taught, they were said Atiti Devo Bhava. ये इमोशन है नेशनल एजुकेशन पॉलिसी. इसको लाना है. फिर 1 ईयर में एग्जिट करो, 2 ईयर में एग्जिट करो, और करो भी ना, कोई फर्क नहीं. एक अच्छा इंसान बनना है. That is important. Similarly, all of you must have read about Mumbai ka dabba walas. We never appreciated them. First, it was taught in Harvard, then we appreciated it. So these are the things which we need to teach our students also. I personally, I belong to a management college, I do this. And because I practice, I can preach. So I have this kind of idea about our knowledge system. One more example I'll give you. अभी थोड़ा और पीछे चले जाता हूँ महाभारत में. how environment and ecological system of our country was developed. महाभारत में एक ऐसा समय आता है जब पूरा कंट्री जो है, इट कम्स इन अ फॉर्म ऑफ अ काउ, कामधेनु, आपने सुना होगा, और उसमें पांडवाज और ये जितने भी सब लोग हैं, सब लोग उनको उसमें हार्म नहीं करते. स्टूडेंट्स को उनकी भाषा में थोड़ा समझाना पड़ता है. तो वो हार्म नहीं करते. तो बिकॉज क्यों हार्म नहीं करते? बिकॉज वो सोचते हैं कि ये हमारी माँ जैसी है. जिस दिन आप सोचना शुरू कर दोगे कि मेरी कंट्री मेरी माँ जैसी, आप कंट्री के रिस्पेक्ट अपने आप करना शुरू कर. पड़ोस में ही आपके जेएनयू में नारे लग जाते हैं. वो इसलिए लग जाते हैं क्योंकि वो अपनी मम्मी के खिलाफ नारे नहीं लगा रहे, वो इंडिया के खिलाफ लगा रहे. जिस दिन उनको पता चल जाएगा कि ये मम्मी है, माँ है, उस दिन नहीं लगाएंगे वो नारे. उनको बदलना ही नेशनल एजुकेशन पॉलिसी का मूल भाव है. और इसीलिए मल्टी डिसिप्लिनरी एजुकेशन जरूरी है. बड़े बड़े साइंटिस्ट हैं, बिग साइंटिस्ट, बैंक में जाते हैं, पे इन स्लिप नहीं भर पाते. गलती नहीं है उनकी, उनको सिखाया नहीं गया. इसलिए मल्टी डिसिप्लिनरी होलिस्टिक एजुकेशन इज इंपॉर्टेंट. पॉलिटिकल साइंटिस्ट बहुत सारे बैठे हैं, मैं थोड़ा सा पहले ही माफी मांग के बोल लेता हूँ. पॉलिटिकल साइंटिस्ट हैं, सोशल साइंटिस्ट हैं, जब पीएचडी में आते हैं तो उनको पता चलता है कि ये तो एसपीएसएस भी यूज करना पड़ेगा, डेटा एनालिटिक्स भी यूज करना पड़ेगा. उनकी गलती नहीं है, उनको सिखाया नहीं गया. अब रिसर्च मेथोडोलॉजी आ रही है तो सीख जाएंगे. तो बेसिक आइडिया जो है नेशनल एजुकेशन पॉलिसी विद एकेडमिक बैंक्स ऑफ क्रेडिट, with so many things. Now UGC has just launched 40 hours of internship is mandatory. So that does not mean that student takes a certificate from some company and says मैं तो internship कराया. इसकी implementation देखना हमारा ही काम है. उसकी internship ये भी हो सकती है कि आप उसको कहो जो आपने क्लास में सीखा है वो कर लो, चाहे हमारे कॉलेज में कर लो. Your college is doing so well. There may be several options. Social internship के लिए NSS होगा. So many societies are there. Give them that freedom. वैसे बोलना तो बहुत आसान है पर मुश्किल होता है रियल लाइफ में, क्योंकि मैं भी टीचर हूँ. जिस दिन मन से बैठेंगे ना अपने 50 के 50 स्टूडेंट क्लास में, उस दिन नेशनल एजुकेशन पॉलिसी सक्सेसफुल है. तो नेशनल एजुकेशन पॉलिसी सक्सेसफुल होगी अगर उसकी इम्प्लीमेंटेशन ठीक से होगी. So there are certain things which we actually need to know that why such policy was required. Of course, definitely we need to give skills to our children. We need to give skills to our kids. It's really, really disheartening at times when we see that people who have done PhD cannot write a paper, Word document, a letter. People who have done PhD cannot prepare a PPT. That's sad. We need to work on that. बट उससे भी ज्यादा सैड होता है जब ये पता चलता है कि वो अच्छा नागरिक नहीं है. अच्छा नागरिक बनने के लिए हम सबको बॉर्डर पे जाने की जरूरत नहीं है, पॉलिटिक्स ज्वाइन करने की जरूरत नहीं है. अच्छा नागरिक बनने के लिए सिर्फ वो काम ठीक से करना जो हमें मिलता है वही बहुत है. वन ऑफ माय वेरी वेरी क्लोज टीचर ऑलवेज टेल्स मी व्हेनेवर आई विजिट हिम दैट आवर स्टूडेंट्स reflect our teachings. Our students are reflections of our teaching. And let me tell you, if you read the newspaper, you'll see very weird kinds of headlines. IIT student murdered, Delhi University student. So the institution's name is always attached to the student. So for our institution and for our students, it's important that we give credit to what they do at their best. And I am sure that is going to happen with the visionary vice chancellor that we have got. Things are moving really fast. And of course, dynamic principal you have in your college. He's very young. He understands how young people can do. So ye अच्छे से होगा. And one last thing, which is important for all the students who are present here. Friends, just think about one of the most important things in your life. मैं ये बात अभी पिछले 2 साल से हर जगह बोल रहा हूँ, इसलिए यहाँ भी बोलना जरूर चाहूंगा। जब कोविड था, when everybody was at home, my country gave me my salary, my country gave me the protection, my country gave me my vaccine, my country gave me medicines. And by country, I am not saying any government. My country is my society. My society gave me everything. मैं ऐसा उदाहरण दे सकता हूँ आपको, when there was nobody to do the last rites of people who passed away in COVID, our society did that. Just embrace and appreciate the way you are living in such a brilliant society. These are our values. Don't forget them. And एक और जो बात हमेशा मैं बोलता हूँ, ट्रीट, हम बोलते हैं ना, आप कुछ जो भी बने, आप किसको इसका क्रेडिट देना चाहोगे? तो 90% लोग ये कहते हैं मैं अपने पेरेंट्स को देता हूँ, मैं अपने मम्मी पापा की वजह से हूँ। 90%, 10% का कुछ सेपरेट हो भी सकता है। तो अपने मम्मी पापा की तरह कंट्री को रखो, कि अपनी कंट्री और अपने पेरेंट्स, क्योंकि मम्मी पापा को हम सब लोग ग्रांटेड भी ले ही लेते हैं ना, इसलिए कंट्री को ग्रांटेड ले सकते हो। जिस दिन हम अपनी कंट्री को अपना बेटा या अपना खुद का सन या डॉटर मान लेंगे, उस दिन तो बिल्कुल ग्रांटेड नहीं ले पाएंगे। वो तो एक ऐसी स्थिति है जो हो सकता है 2047 या उसके 25 साल बाद आए, पर अभी 25 साल तक लेट अस अज्यूम that our country is giving us everything, and that is the biggest achievement of our national education policy. Do read this 66-page document. You will feel what I have said today is reflecting in those 66 pages. Thank you.
बहुत अच्छे अभिषेक जी, बहुत अच्छा, आपने एक अलग ही नया पर्सपेक्टिव दिया है। मेरे ख्याल मॉडरेटर हमारे इंद्रकांत जी प्रोफेसर रत्नावली को शायद छोड़ने गए हुए हैं, तो आगे हम लोग चर्चा को आरंभ रखेंगे। कुछ प्रश्न है तो प्रश्न ले सकते हैं हम लोग। अभी जो डिस्कशन हुआ है, प्रोफेसर रत्नावली ने पूरा जो हमारा ये NEP का फ्रेमवर्क है, जो इसमें अभी यूनिवर्सिटी ने अडॉप्ट भी किया है, और वो डिफरेंट जो हमारे डिपार्टमेंट्स हैं, कई डिपार्टमेंट्स के तो आ भी गए हैं सिलेबस देखने के लिए, तो उस तरह का वो एक पूरा जो NEP का फ्रेमवर्क है उसके बारे में चर्चा की। अभिषेक जी ने एकदम एक डिफरेंट पर्सपेक्टिव दिया है, जिसमें वास्तविक में क्या शिक्षा नीति, विभिन्न जो हमारे विश्वविद्यालय हैं उनसे क्या एक डिमांड चाह रही है, क्या चाह रही है कि अगले 20-30 वर्ष बाद कैसा भारत का भविष्य हो और किस तरह के हमारा समाज का निर्माण हो। उसी तरह का एक परिप्रेक्ष्य इंडियन नॉलेज सिस्टम को लेके, और उसमें क्या क्या कमियां हैं, त्रुटियां हैं, और क्या और कैसे हम उसको अडॉप्ट कर सकते हैं, इन सब को लेते हुए इन्होंने काफी सारी विषय रखे। हम लोग कुछ प्रश्न लेना जरूर चाहेंगे, तो अगर यहाँ पे काफी सारे ओरल हमारे जो कल प्रेजेंटर्स थे वो भी थे, अभी हैं हमारे साथ सम्मेलन में उपस्थित हैं, तो प्रश्नों के लिए हाउस ओपन है अभी। हाँ, SM झा जी कुछ प्रश्न रखना चाह रहे हैं अपना जी। माइक।
एग्जाम चेक 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 एग्जाम ड्यूटी के बाद मैं अभिषेक जी को सुन रहा था, और अभिषेक जी ने जो 2-3 उदाहरण दिए, उस उदाहरण के आधार पर मैं जो नई चीज कह रहा हूँ वो कि उन्होंने पिछले 75 साल के वैल्यू सिस्टम, एजुकेशन सिस्टम पर भी कहा कि वह डिब्बा वाला हो चाहे वह ताज होटल का व्यक्ति हो, उसमें भी मोरालिटी थी, और वह न्यू एजुकेशन पॉलिसी के पहले के लोग हैं जिसमें भी मोरालिटी है। मैं आग्रह करता हूं इस पूरे सेमिनार के लिए और बाद में भी कि नई एजुकेशन पॉलिसी की सारी प्रशंसा की जाए, इम्प्लीमेंटेशन की बात की जाए, लेकिन 75 साल को गाली नहीं दिया जाए। हम उस 75 साल के प्रोडक्ट हैं, हम उस 75 साल के टीचर्स हैं, हमारी शिक्षा उसी 75 साल में हुई है। इसीलिए बिना 75 साल की बुराइयों को गिनाए हुए हम अगले 75 साल की बात कहें कि हम यह करते जाएंगे, यह करेंगे, यह सारा कुछ होगा। इसलिए मुझे अभिषेक जी की बात अच्छी लगी। एक बात, दूसरी बात जो
सर संक्षेप में
हाँ,
थोड़ा,
संक्षेप में।
विद्यार्थी भी खड़ा है।
हाँ, संक्षेप में लैंग्वेज की बात मैं कर रहा हूँ। इससे पहले भी 4 ईयर कोर्स में लैंग्वेज की बात हुई थी। क्या दिल्ली यूनिवर्सिटी के जितने सारे सिलेबस है हिंदी को छोड़कर, आज तक पिछले 70 सालों में या 100 सालों में मैं कहूँ, हिंदी में उसका अनुवाद नहीं हुआ है। इसलिए कि वह फेडरल सेंट्रल यूनिवर्सिटी है, फेडरल यूनिवर्सिटी है। हम लोगों ने हिस्ट्री डिपार्टमेंट में 10 साल तक यह डिमांड करते रहे कि क्या हिंदी में सिलेबस का ट्रांसलेशन नहीं हो सकता, नहीं हुआ। मैं फिर आग्रह कर रहा हूं कि इस नई एजुकेशन पॉलिसी में सारे सब्जेक्ट का, मुझे वाइस प्रेसिडेंट ऑफ इंडिया का सुनने को मिला, ब्रॉशर तेलुगु में भी छपा है इस बार, बहुत अच्छी बात है। क्या मैं उम्मीद करूं कि न्यू एजुकेशन पॉलिसी के साथ हमारे सारे सब्जेक्ट के सिलेबस उन सभी भाषाओं में छपेगी जो कि ऑल इंडिया में लोग पढ़ सकते हैं अपने सब्जेक्ट को अपनी भाषा में। थैंक यू
जी। अगला प्रश्न लेते हैं।
Good afternoon, sir. I am Professor Archana from Aditi Mahavidyalaya. I am NEP coordinator from my college. Sir, it's my observation, not any question, not any suggestions. I have observed आज की युवा पीढ़ी में जहाँ तक संस्कार की बात है, because I work with 10 NGO, मैंने देखा है बच्चों में संस्कार मरते जा रहे हैं और उस बढ़ते हुए संस्कार के साथ माता पिता के प्रति जो उनका रवैया है, they have lost sensitivities. और वैसे में सर उन बच्चों से ऐसी उम्मीद करना is a very very challenging work, because जब तक हम घर में संस्कार नहीं डेवलप करें, ये संस्कार हम बच्चों में नहीं डाल पा रहे हैं। बिकॉज मैं स्लम के बहुत बच्चों को द्वारका में हर सोसाइटी के पीछे स्लम के बच्चों को लेकर आती हूँ, मैंने उनसे भी बातें की। I interact with many students in my college because I have worked for more than 24 years. They have no respect for anything. और इस आज हमें जरूरत है, because I'm running a campaign, संस्कार, संस्कृति and संस्कृत। तो जब तक हम सनातन धर्म की परंपरा में माता पिता को उनकी सही जगह पे नहीं रखेंगे, हम वहां पे इन बच्चों में देश के प्रति क्या, अपने टीचर्स के प्रति भी रेस्पेक्ट नहीं ला पा रहे हैं। आजकल के बच्चे हेलो मैम, गुड मॉर्निंग मैम करके निकल जाते हैं। मैम सर मेरा दूसरा ऑब्जर्वेशन है, when professorship interview was being conducted, as per the notification, it was written over there, you have to be judged by Scopus Index journals. Unfortunately, हमारी अगर हम 22 लैंग्वेजेस की बात करते हैं, we are still judged by British indexed journals, foreign journals. Why not we are, our credit is determined on the basis of Indian languages. I hail from Bihar. I have been studying in Delhi and I have been here for the last 32 years. I speak very, very good Hindi. I speak in English also, but when it comes to writing, I'm asked, write in English. आप हिंदी में कैसे लिखिएगा, स्कोपस में नहीं छपेगा. So this is the dilemma. I think most of the people from their vernacular languages or the regional languages, they are facing. Delhi University is flooded with people from Bihar, from Odisha. So these languages are not recognized.
मैं इसमें I'll just like to add a small point here. I'll answer. I'll actually come to your second observation first. So आप प्रोफेसर तो बन गए ना, ठीक है, तो वो स्कोपस वाला फैक्टर तो आंसर हो ही गया. बट आई थिंक अभी यूजीसी केयर जो है, they are trying to incorporate journals in all the languages. So that is one thing where we can, look forward. लेकिन एक चीज और भी है कि ऐसा भी नहीं होना चाहिए, मतलब आपके लिए नहीं बोल रहा, ना कि यहाँ पे बैठे हुए किसी प्रोफेसर के लिए बोल रहा हूँ, कि वो रूपनगर में कोई एक छोटी पुस्तक निकलती है, उसमें छाप दिया और हम प्रोफेसर बन गए. तो होता क्या है कि हमें जज उसी से किया जाता है, और हमारी कम्युनिटी में से कुछ लोग ऐसा कर देते हैं, इसलिए हमें उसको भुगतना पड़ता है, वरना पहले ऐसे कुछ था नहीं. अभी जो फर्स्ट बात आपने कही संस्कार वाली, तो ये क्या है ना, संस्कार और ये सब, ये पुश किसी के गले से नीचे नहीं उतारे जा सकते। ये तो क्या है, समय के साथ अपने आप, ये जो है ना सनातन की बात आपने की, ये जो भारत है ये कुछ नहीं है, सनातन की खोज है, तो अपने आप वो आएंगे उसमें। थोड़ा सा टाइम हो सकता है उनको लगे, लेकिन दे विल कम।
थैंक यू सर। आई थिंक एडल्ट एजुकेशन भी इसमें शामिल हो जाना चाहिए था।
हाँ, चेयरमैन सर कुछ बोलना चाह रहे हैं?
तो सर अर्चना जी, आपने सनातन धर्म और संस्कार, संस्कृति और संस्कृत की बात की। यदि आप लोगों में जितने लोग बैठे हैं, मुख्यतः सब ने पढ़े लिखे लोग हैं, प्रोफेसर तो क्या, असिस्टेंट प्रोफेसर जब तक नहीं बन सकता जब तक कि बहुत अच्छा उसमें शैक्षणिक योग्यता ना हो। आदि शंकराचार्य जी का नाम आपने सुना होगा सबने। आदि शंकराचार्य जी ने हजारों साल पहले, 30 साल की भी कम उम्र में उनका देहावसान हो गया। उन्होंने एक पुस्तक में लिखा है कि अगर पहले हमारे देश में माता पिता कुछ बच्चों को अपने को सन्यासी बना देते थे, और उन्होंने लिखा है अपनी कलम से, वो अभी भी रखी हुई है पुस्तक उनके मठ पर, कि अगर किसी व्यक्ति का बेटा या बेटी सन्यासी हो जाए और वो 10-20 साल बाद घूमता हुआ उस अपने मूल स्थान पर वो पहुंच जाए, तो उन्होंने ये लिखा है कि अगर उसका बाप उसके सामने आ जाए, फादर ऑफ दैट चाइल्ड, तो उस बाप को भी सन्यासी के रूप में उस अपने बेटे के पैर छूने पड़ेंगे। लेकिन उन्होंने कहा अगर उसकी माताजी उसके सामने आ जाए तो सन्यासी को उस माताजी के पैर छूने पड़ेंगे। ये जो संस्कार हैं, अभी बहुत अच्छी बात डॉक्टर अभिषेक टंडन जी ने बताई कि हम अपेक्षा ये जरूर रखते हैं कि हमारे बच्चों में संस्कार आए। और संस्कार कहां से आएगा? मनुस्मृति में ये लिखा है कि सबसे पहले मां जो है उसके द्वारा बच्चे के ज्ञान की प्रतिपादिकता होती है। टीचर के पास वो बच्चा कुछ समय के उपरांत जाता है। मुझे बड़ा खेद होता है कि आजकल माँ बाप के पास अपने बच्चों के लिए समय ही नहीं है। आप बुरा मत मानिएगा इसमें, कि आजकल जो खास हमारे से अगली पीढ़ी के लोग यंग हैं, जिनकी उम्र 40 से कम है, वो लोग अपने भौतिकतावाद में इतने घुस गए हैं कि उनके पास अपने बच्चों के लिए समय देने के लिए नहीं है। उन्होंने आयाएं रख ली हैं, उन आयाओं को वो माँ की तरफ बच्चे ज्यादा करते हैं, जबकि अपनी माँ को कम वो लगाव रखते हैं। तो संस्कार की बात आप कहाँ करेंगे? कॉलेज लेवल पर जाकर आप नहीं चेंज कर सकते, क्योंकि 18 साल 19 साल का बच्चा आएगा। तो हमें ये सारी, मैं अभी डॉक्टर अभिषेक जी के बता रहा था कि जो बात आप कर रहे हैं, आपको तो स्कूलों में मुझे ले जाना चाहिए। स्कूलों में जाके जहाँ छोटे बच्चे हैं वहां ये बातें प्रारंभ होनी चाहिए। तो संस्कार की बात केवल आप एनजीओ के थ्रू नहीं चला सकते, मैं माफी चाहता हूं आपसे। संस्कार की बात आप कॉलेज के थ्रू नहीं खाली चला सकते। संस्कार पहले हमारी जो पहली जगह है वो हमारा घर है, हमारे माँ बाप है। मैं वकालत का पेशा करता हूं। मुझे एक बहुत बड़ा हाई कोर्ट में केस मिला, मैं आपके साथ शेयर करना चाहता हूं, जिसको आप संस्कार कहते हैं। 2 भाइयों का झगड़ा था। उस झगड़े में ये भी प्रॉपर्टी के साथ बंटवारा हो गया कि माँ किसके साथ रहेगी, बाप किसके साथ रहेगा। इससे कोई दुर्भाग्यपूर्ण बात इस देश में नहीं हो सकती कि माँ बाप का भी बंटवारा हम कर रहे हैं पैसे के लालच में। तो संस्कार, ये जो वृद्धाश्रम जगह जगह खुल रहे हैं, एनजीओ चला रही हैं, जो बेटा अपने बाप को नहीं रखता बुढ़ापे में, संतानोत्पत्ति का पहला कांड लिखा है वेद में कि बुढ़ापे में माँ बाप की सेवा करना, उनका लालन पालन करना। और ये कोई आज की बात नहीं है, ना नई शिक्षा नीति की बात है। हमारे भारत के संविधान के तहत और भारत के आजाद होने से पहले भी एडॉप्शन एंड मेंटेनेंस एक्ट है, कोड ऑफ क्रिमिनल प्रोसीजर है, उन सब में ये कानून है कि वृद्धावस्था में लड़की और लड़के का बराबर हक है। आप लड़कियों को दूर नहीं कर सकते। ये भी एक धारणा बड़ी गलत है कि माँ बाप की सेवा लड़का ही करेगा। लड़की और लड़के में कोई फर्क नहीं है हमारे यहाँ। और अब तो 2019 में भारत की सबसे बड़ी अदालत ने एक इतना महत्वपूर्ण कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल बेंच ने फैसला दे दिया है कि लड़के और लड़की का ये वो देश आजाद होने से पहले का मामला हो, बराबर का हिस्सा है माँ बाप की प्रॉपर्टी में, तो उनके लालन पालन में भी लड़कियों का बराबर का हिस्सा है। आप इससे बच नहीं सकते। और लड़कियों पर यह बात ज्यादा दायित्व है घर में। मैं बहुत फक्र के साथ कहता हूँ कि लड़कियां ज्यादा अपने माँ बाप की आजकल सेवा कर रही हैं। ये मैंने ऑब्जर्व किया, जैसे आप कह रहे हो कि सर्वे किया है। तो आप संस्कार की बात एनजीओ के थ्रू नहीं चला सकते, संस्कार की बात आप कॉलेज के थ्रू नहीं चला सकते। संस्कार के लिए हमें जो हमारे यंग पेरेंट्स हैं, खासकर जिनकी शादी अभी हुई है 2-4 7 साल और जिनके बच्चे 2-2 4-4 साल के हैं, उनको हमें ये समझाने की जरूरत है कि आप खूब तरक्की कीजिए, पैसे के पीछे भी भागिए और बड़े बड़े पदों के प्रति भी भागिए, लेकिन कुछ समय अपने बच्चों को भी दीजिए। संस्कृत की बात आ जाइएगा, कितने ऐसे टीचर्स हैं हमारे यहाँ जो सामने बैठे हैं। मैं धारा प्रवाह संस्कृत में बोल सकता हूं, मैं घंटों संस्कृत बोल सकता हूं। संस्कृत को पढ़ाने के लिए सरकार ने बहुत सारे केंद्रीय विश्वविद्यालय बना दिए हैं जो दिल्ली यूनिवर्सिटी के बराबर है। समकक्ष है। दिल्ली में भी दो ऐसी यूनिवर्सिटियां चल रही हैं संस्कृत की, राष्ट्रीय संस्कृत संस्थान और कुतुब इंस्टीट्यूट में जेएनयू के पास ही एक लाल बहादुर शास्त्री सेंट्रल यूनिवर्सिटी है संस्कृत। आप जब उन लोगों की तरफ देखते हो जबकि सारा ज्ञान उसमें है, जो अर्थशास्त्र का और अंग्रेजी भाषा का टीचर है वो उनको सेकंड क्लास टीचर मानता है। माफी चाहता हूं मैं ये कहते हुए। कहां से संस्कृत की बात आ जाएगी? आपको अगर अच्छा ज्ञान वर्धन करना है तो ये जो नई शिक्षा नीति में एक सबसे अच्छी बात है वो ये है कि विज्ञान के विद्यार्थी को संस्कृत भी पढ़ना पड़ेगा, उसको भूगोल भी पढ़ना पड़ेगा, उसको अर्थशास्त्र भी पढ़ना पड़ेगा। तो इसके ये फायदे को हमें बच्चों को बताना है और इससे हमें लाभ उठाना है। और जो लोग प्रैक्टिकल चीजें ये बता रहे हैं, डॉक्टर टंडन जैसे, ऐसे लोगों को स्कूलों में ले जाओ, यंग कपल्स पर ले जाओ, ताकि उनको, और ये आप दिमाग से उतार दीजिएगा कि नई शिक्षा नीति से ही कोई बदलाव हुए हैं। अब तक जितनी शिक्षा नीति आई हैं उन्होंने काफी काम किया है। मैं झा साहब की बात को पूरी तरह से तायद करता हूँ जो इन्होंने कहा। हम ये कहकर अपना पल्ला नहीं छुड़ा सकते कि पहले कुछ हुआ ही नहीं 70 साल में। बड़े बड़े राष्ट्रीय और अंतर्राष्ट्रीय स्तर के जो विश्वविद्यालय हैं वो पिछले 70-80 सालों में बने हैं। आप जिस विश्वविद्यालय में पढ़ाते हैं उसको 100 साल हो चुके हैं। 1 मई को बहुत बड़ा फंक्शन आप लोगों ने अटेंड किया होगा कि 100 साल के वार्षिक उत्सव शुरू हो चुका है उसका। तो ये चीजें आप करिएगा।
गुड आफ्टरनून। मैं छोटू राम मीणा हिंदी विभाग में एक शिक्षक के रूप में कार्य कर रहा हूँ। कल मैंने एक पेपर भी प्रेजेंट किया था और उसमें ये था कि हमारे पास जो ओरल ट्रेडिशन की चीज़ें थी वो ओरल ट्रेडिशन की चीज़ें सोशल स्कूलिंग का काम किया करती थी। वो छोटे छोटे समूहों में बच्चों के साथ बैठ कर के पेरेंट्स या पड़ोसी के दूसरे चाचा, दादा, ताऊ, ये सब उनको मॉरलिटी के एजुकेशन से रिलेटेड जो बातें हैं, कहानियां हैं, कविताएं हैं, गीत हैं, पहेलियां हैं, वो सुनाया करते थे। मैं ये दावे के साथ कह सकता हूँ इस सभागार में बैठे हुए कोई भी एक ऐसा पेरेंट्स नहीं होगा जो अपने बच्चों को गलत एजुकेशन, गलत राह पर या किसी और ऐसे मार्ग पर जाने की बात कहता होगा। ऐसा दुनिया का कोई भी पेरेंट्स नहीं है जो अपने बच्चों को अच्छी बातें नहीं सिखाता होगा। ऐसा कोई स्कूल नहीं है जो अच्छी बातें नहीं सिखाता है। क्या ऐसे कारण बनते जा रहे हैं कि जो न्यूक्लियर फैमिलीज हैं उनके पास टाइम की कमी हो सकती है, ये कारण हो सकता है। स्कूलिंग है वो इतना प्रेशर डाल देते हैं कि वैल्यू एजुकेशन जो है वो साइड में या पर्दे में चली जाती है, और कुछ और जो चीजें हैं वो नेसेसिटी हो जाती हैं, कुछ और ऐसी बातें हैं जो ज्यादा जरूरी हो जाती हैं, वैल्यू या मॉरलिटी जो है महत्वपूर्ण नहीं बनती है। तो पारिवारिक जो इंस्टीट्यूशंस हैं, पेरेंट्स, वो कभी भी इस तरह की एजुकेशन नहीं देते। हमारे जो इंस्टीट्यूट्स हैं, चाहे वो प्राइमरी लेवल के हों या हायर एजुकेशन के हों, वो इस तरह के इंस्टीट्यूट्स नहीं देते हैं। लेकिन वो ऐसे कौन से कारण है कि ये चीजें हमें दिन ब दिन ऐसा लगता है कि शायद हमारी जो शिक्षा है उसमें कुछ कमी है, और इसलिए हमारे जो आने वाली जनरेशन है वो अदर साइड में जा रही है, हमारी बात को अनसुना कर रही है, दूसरी तरफ जा रही है। तो हमें क्या करना चाहिए, उसके लिए क्या करना है?
मुझे लगता है कि प्लीज क्वेश्चन थोड़ा ब्रीफ में होना, तो मुझे लगता है पॉइंट टू पॉइंट अच्छा रहेगा। और दिस इज लास्ट क्वेश्चन।
क्वेश्चन पूछ ही नहीं रही हूँ।
नहीं।
मैं क्वेश्चन नहीं पूछ रही हूँ, अपना ऑब्जर्वेशन बहुत ब्रीफ में शेयर करूंगी
Please.
मैं। तो ये जो डिस्कशन पूरा शुरू हुआ, मैम ने एक ऑब्जर्वेशन उठाया, फिर रिस्पेक्टेड वत्स सर ने अपनी बात कही और मीना सर ने भी कहा। तो मैं काफी ध्यान से इस चीज को सुन रही थी, और मेरा भी मन किया कि मैं 2 मिनट इस बात पे बोलूं, क्योंकि जैसे कि सर ने कहा कि जो पेरेंट्स हैं, यंग पेरेंट्स हैं, तो आई एम वन ऑफ देम। मेरा 4.5 साल का बेटा है और मैं वर्किंग पेरेंट हूँ, एज एन असिस्टेंट प्रोफेसर लास्ट 10 ईयर से काम कर रही हूँ मैं। तो सर आपने जो बात कही उससे मैं ये कहूंगी कि मैं 100% सहमत हूँ उसमें। मैं ये भी नहीं कहूंगी कि मैं 90% सहमत हूँ, क्योंकि ये चैलेंजेस हमें आते हैं। और जैसा कि आपने कहा कि इसका कोई ऑल्टरनेट नहीं है, क्योंकि हम डिफरेंट ग्राउंड्स पे डिफरेंट चीजें हमारी इंपॉर्टेंट होती हैं लाइफ में, और हर चीज ऐसी लगती है कि सबसे इंपॉर्टेंट यही है। तो एक्सटर्नल प्रेशर्स डेफिनेटली हैं, आफ्टर चेंजिंग डायनामिक्स जो हमारे जॉब के रहे हैं, वो सब चैलेंजेस हमें हैं। लेकिन अगर हम संस्कारों की बात करते हैं तो उसका कोई विकल्प नहीं है। पेरेंट्स हैं घर में, दादा दादी हैं, नाना नानी हैं, अगर बड़े लोग घर में हैं तो बच्चे का जो अपब्रिंगिंग होती है उसका कोई ऑल्टरनेट नहीं है। क्योंकि अगर हम कहीं ना कहीं डिस्कशंस हमारे अपने घर में भी हुए थे जब मेरा बेटा छोटा था, so I was very clear कि maybe at one point of time it is required, then I will leave my career, but I will take care of my child if I have to choose at all. But with God's grace, my parents were around, my in-laws were also very supportive, so we could manage things. बट मैं बिल्कुल आपकी बात से सहमत हूँ कि इसका ऑल्टरनेट नहीं होता है फैमिली को छोड़ के। तो बच्चे को टाइम चाहिए ही चाहिए। अब आपकी फैमिली में से आप किस तरह से मैनेज करते हैं, किस तरह से चीजों को लाते हैं। जैसे मेरा अभी भी मैं जाऊंगी तो बेटा वेट कर रहा होगा, तो मेरा सबसे पहला काम है कि मैं उसके साथ बैठूं, और मैं अपनी तरफ से कोशिश करती हूँ। जब वो 4 साल का था, पिछले 6 महीने से कोशिश कर रही हूँ मैं कि इंडियन माइथोलॉजी से उसको मैं एक्सपोज करूँ। तो ये मैंने अपने लिए रूल बनाया है कि मैं कितना भी थक जाऊं, मैं रोज रात में उसके लिए रीडिंग करती हूँ और उसको करवाती हूँ। तो इससे उसकी एकेडमिक्स भी बहुत अच्छी हुई है, उसकी रीडिंग स्किल्स विद गॉड ग्रेस बहुत अच्छे हुए हैं, और हमारा पर्सनल टाइम भी हम साथ में व्यतीत करते हैं। तो ऑब्वियसली हो सकता है कि मेरे पेपर पब्लिकेशंस थोड़े कम हो जाएं, हो सकता है कि मैं कम कॉन्फ्रेंसेस में पार्टिसिपेट कर पाऊं, बट यस, दिस इज अबाउट प्रायोरिटी कि हम किस चीज को कितना अपनी लाइफ में चूज करना चाहते हैं। थैंक यू
मैम, थैंक यू। This is the last, and we can keep discussion during our lunch. Yeah, because we are already getting late. Yeah.
Thank you so much. क्योंकि अभी तक तो क्वेश्चन आंसर सेशन है, क्वेश्चन ही नहीं हुआ था, और मैं अभिषेक सर से ये पूछना चाहता हूँ, जो उनका व्यक्तित्व रहा, वो कह रहे हैं कि मल्टी डिसिप्लिनरी कैरेक्टर होना चाहिए स्टूडेंट्स का। तो सर मैं ये जानना चाहता हूँ, एनईपी क्या टीचर्स के बारे में भी कुछ कह रहा है कि टीचर शुड ऑल्सो बी मल्टी डिसिप्लिनरी कैरेक्टर? क्योंकि टीचर्स ही मल्टी डिसिप्लिनरी होंगे तभी तो स्टूडेंट्स को दे पाएंगे। ये मेरा क्वेश्चन है।
छोटू जी का मैं पहले बोल देता हूँ, टीचर पे अब मैं बोलूंगा नहीं कुछ, भागी जी आ गए। छोटू जी, ये वैसे आपने जो प्रश्न पूछा है ना बहुत अच्छा है, और मैं इसका एक छोटा सा उदाहरण देता हूँ आपको। आप वेस्ट में देखो, अगर आप वेस्टर्न कंट्रीज में, तो लोग योगा को फॉलो करना शुरू कर चुके हैं। हमारे यहाँ अभी फिर भी उतना अब शुरू हुआ है। तो उसके कारण क्या है? उसका कारण क्या है कि लौट के तो आना पड़ेगा वापस। अभी अपना संघर्ष तो केवल इतना है कि लौट के आना है, या शुरुआत ही वहीं से करानी है, या बीच में वापस ले लेना है स्टूडेंट्स को। कोविड के टाइम पे एक 60 to 70,000 स्टूडेंट्स ऐसे थे जिनका हैंड्स ऑन एक्सपीरियंस ये कहता है कि हमें जो अपने देश ने दिया, हमें समझ आ गई कि बाहर नहीं मिल सकता। नॉट ओनली इन कंटेक्स्ट ऑफ कि उनको फ्लाइट्स पे हम लेके आए, द वे दे वर ट्रीटेड। आप चाइना में देखो किस तरह कोविड को टैकल कर रहे हैं, घर में जेल बना के बंद कर रहे हैं। तो समटाइम्स दीज थिंग्स दे एक्ट एज सिल्वर लाइनिंग्स। आप तबीयत खराब होती है ना, तभी लोग योगा करते हैं और मेडिसिन लेते हैं, लेकिन पहले से ही कर लें तो शायद तबीयत खराब ही ना हो। तो इसीलिए क्या है, वो जो संस्कार की बात है, और आप जो कह रहे हो, तो वी आर डूइंग आवर लेवल बेस्ट, एज मैम ऑल्सो सेड, वी आर ट्राइंग आवर बेस्ट। नाउ लेट्स सी वेयर वी आर going to reach. At the end of the day, as teachers, we teach also every student, but not every student gets good marks. So that is something which we have to take with a pinch of salt. On your question, I would like to say there is nowhere mentioned in the national education policy that multidisciplinary culture of a student. When we talk about multidisciplinary, it is a multidisciplinary institution which involves all the stakeholders. I have already said Government of India has sanctioned 350 crores of money to convert 35 higher education institutions in multidisciplinary education and research universities. All our research and education institutions will only be institutions when teachers are there. Unless and until teachers are there, no students are going to be benefited. एक छोटी बात और ऐड करना चाहूंगा। Recently, Prime Minister of India chaired a meeting on national education policy. पढ़ लीजिए आपने। कभी कभी लोगों को लगता है हम अपने मन से बोल देते हैं, पर पढ़ लेना चाहिए, जाके चेक कर लेना चाहिए, बाद में हमें पकड़ भी सकते हो आप लोग। प्राइम मिनिस्टर सेड ये बहुत ज्यादा ऑनलाइन भी मत करो, ये ऑन रिकॉर्ड है। समटाइम्स यू सी these days we just talk about online education, and Prime Minister of India emphasized that it should not be online only, it should be hybrid. If at all, it has to be online. The role of teacher cannot be substituted, or the role of teacher cannot be taken into any light mode. So that is how, we need to understand that all that which is there in the national education policy is for the institutions, and institutions के बड़े stakeholders कौन है? Teachers. सबसे बड़े नहीं है, पर बड़े। Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Abhishek Tandon, for answering all those queries raised by participants and share your views. Before conclude this session, and no worries, we have one more session after the lunch, and we can keep discussing, and we definitely come to some conclusion and some takeaway message, so that finally how best we can implement NEP for betterment of students, for us, and of course for our country. So before that, concluding the session, I would like to request Dr. Kamna Singh ma'am and Varsa ma'am to come and escort principal of the Ambedkar College, or sorry, Aurobindo College, Professor Bipin Agarwal sir, and I request our chairman sir and Kamal sir to kindly facilitate. For lunch? Yes. So now I would like to thank on dais our respected chairman sir, Sri Aranvat sir, our Vice Principal, Professor Kamal Kumar Gupta sir, our conveners, Dr. Seema ma'am and Dr. Ruby Misra, and of course today's speaker, Professor Ratnavali and Dr. Abhishek Tandon sir. Thank you so much for sparing your time and valuable inputs for this conference. Thank you so much. Yeah, sir, and for formal vote of thanks, our Vice Principal sir will say for this session. Professor Kamal Kumar Gupta sir.
Thank you, Dr. Instant. What a session. Right now, I just want to say one thing. Dr. Abhishek Tandon, he was saying that the content of the class should be there, like that all the students should by choice come to the class. And I can say here, it is almost, we are already late for the lunch. And right now I cannot see any bored or any loss of energy. The house is full of enthusiasm. So that is the beauty of the session. I would like, because it's a national education policy we are talking. So I say national education policy, a policy for change, a policy for a country, a policy for our motherland, a policy where we impart the value among the students. Yes, the sanskar come right from the family, right in the beginning, but there is never an end to the sanskar that can be imparted at each and every level. If my students see some of the practices I'm following, they will certainly get inspired. They will certainly try to imitate me. So the sanskar can be imparted at each level. But of course, I do agree that the deep-rooted sanskar enters, percolate right during the childhood in the students. So the teachers, luckily, we are the role model for our teachers. How we project ourselves. Do we go for the shortcut? Do we compete with each other? Or do we collaborate? Right now in the discussion, we are talking that the sanskars are not there. The parents, the students are not sensitive. We have to raise a question from ourselves. Do we have enough time to spend with the students? Are we really taking a good care of our parents? If we are not, how can we expect our children will be doing? No, children are just a reflection. Our own children are reflection. They do what are we doing. So that is in a nutshell. Of course, it's such a fabulous, such a fantastic session. I'm really energized. And I've been given an opportunity to give a formal vote of thanks. And I really feel proud and privileged to be part of this session. Now, first of all, I would like to thank for our today's speakers, Professor Ratnavali, Dean, Academic Activities and Projects, who introduced us with the brief curriculum of new education policy in the most simple way, and also defined the character of new education policy, where we have to impart education, value-added education, skill-based education, and all the highlights. And again, it's a pride movement that we are the fraternity of Delhi University, and Delhi University has taken an initiative to launch at a national level. Sir, Professor Abhishek Tandon, your talk was just mesmerizing. I could see the energy among the house when you were talking. And I know some of the examples what you gave, they were beyond description. I have the goosebumps by listening. So that is required. And I think it's a learning for all the teachers, for us. What shall be the content of our talk? What is the content of our lecture? Thank you, sir. My heartfelt thanks is to our chief patron, Honorable Shri R.N. Vats, Governing Body Chairman, who is always a constant source of inspiration for our institution, who always encourages us to do constructive activities. Thank you, sir. And it's not only inspiration, it's not only the way you participated in today's the panel discussion, that was really wonderful. Thank you, sir. My sincere thanks to our principal, Professor Rajiv Agarwal, who is, I always say, the wind beneath our wings, who always motivate us to fly and motivate us to fly high, who always encourage, support, and participate in all the events what we organize. So my deep appreciation and thanks to Professor Rajiv Agarwal, Principal. I can see some of the distinguished persons here in this house, Professor Vipin Goyal, Professor Anil Agarwal, and Anil Roy, and some of my senior faculty members, the members from other colleges, my young faculty members, a deep appreciation to all of you for participating. I can see, you know, the session is not ended, but Professor Bhagi is there. So that shows the punctuality and discipline a person should have. That next session, and that again, the beauty, you know, the previous session has not been ended and we are already in the preparation for the new session. No one is bothered for the lunch, but certainly we are going to serve the lunch here. A big applaud to the organizing team, the conveners, Professor Varsha Babeja and Professor Ruby Mishra, for hosting such a marvelous event, and that too in an offline mode. So it's really wonderful, and a big applaud to them. I'll fail from my responsibilities if, you know, the ultimate soul of a session is the audience. And I can say the energy, the participation, the enthusiasm in the energy. So all praise, appreciation, and applaud to the wonderful participation, wonderful speakers. Thank you all. Thank you.
So now I would like to request all of you to please join us for lunch at BCR. BCR is just when you